Hey, what's up guys? Joker here. As I'm sure many of you know, Computex is going on this weekend, which means we're going to start seeing a lot of cards rolling in from the board partners for NVIDIA because of the Pascal launch, and also hopefully seeing some news coming in from companies like AMD as well, with announcements for Polaris and maybe some new APUs and more Pascal news I'm sure will be coming in on the 1080s and 1070s. We'll just have to wait and see as things come in, but we're starting to see things come in now with Hot Hardware posting up some pictures of the EVGA GTX 1080 card, the Superclocked card, and they even ran some initial tests, even testing SLI, being that they now had two cards on hand. And we can take a look at the card here. We can see that they went with a more white design compared to the all-black design that we saw previously on the ACX coolers. I personally like the look of this card. It's definitely a more aggressive design than the previous ones. You can let me know in the comments below what you think about this new redesign here on the card. I think it looks cool, and being that I tend to do like black and white theme builds, I think this would definitely fit in with what I'm planning to do. I'm looking at the Fantex Enthoo Evolve, the black one, maybe the tempered glass model, and I think maybe two of these in there would look absolutely amazing with that white lighting on the side. I think that the white lighting here looks really good in this particular shot. You can see it right there in the Superclocked logo. I would definitely like to see two of those lined up in a case side by side, and it's got a nice backplate running along the back here too, and some ventilated cutouts here just kind of add to the aesthetic there. Very nice looking indeed. But it does look like they went with the single 8-pin power connector here on this card, which is an interesting choice. I still want to see which of the board partners are going to start coming out with cards that do have more than just the single 8-pin power connector on there, and also how much that's going to limit this particular card. We did get a screen grab courtesy of Video Cards posted this of what the Superclocked card specs would be, and it would be running at 1709 megahertz compared to the 1607 of the stock Founders Edition card. So it's a little bit more than 100 megahertz right out of the box, and then it boosts up to 1848 megahertz versus the 1733 of the Founders Edition card. So that's, it's faster than the Founders card, sure, but the Founders cards, from seeing some numbers that have come out already, if they're cooled properly, we've seen that it can overclock over that 1848 megahertz. So I'm going to be interested to see how much further this can go, being that on Hot Hardware's testing, they did say that it was staying under about 80 degrees Celsius in their testing, and with the fans ramped up all the way, they said that it was extremely quiet, that they could barely even hear it. And I mentioned earlier that they did do some SLI testing. They only tested a couple of things, and they're going to do some more testing. They explained, it's Computex, a lot's going on right now, but they posted some numbers with SLI on Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor here at 4K. This is being tested, and with the 1080s and SLI, it was getting an average of 121.6 FPS. That's a lot of frames running in that game in 4K versus the single card was getting 61.8 FPS. So that's pretty much exactly double the performance of one card. That's amazing scaling right there. That game does scale very well, so it's nice to see that they're doing that here on the 1080, even with just the initial driver release. And they mentioned they weren't using the new high bandwidth memory SLI bridge. They were just using a regular SLI bridge, but it worked perfectly right out of the box. And comparing like the 1080 that they had there, the EVGA one, is comparing to like a 980 Ti, you can see that it was edging that out by about 4 frames there, 1080 versus 980 Ti, and even more so than the Titan X, but the 980 Ti even more so than the Titan X, so that's interesting there. And Fury X coming down at the bottom with 48 average FPS in this particular benchmark, so looks like 1080 is beating out the 980 Ti, but I'm having to assume that that's a stock 980 Ti that's not overclocked versus this Superclocked 1080 that they don't have any additional overclocking on. So I would like to see where those numbers actually lie once we see both of the cards overclocked. And that's something I do want to test here on the channel right away as soon as I get a 1080, and I want to test my 980 Ti overclock and see how that really does line up in a full suite of benchmarks. So make sure you subscribe for that. And if you have any ideas for games you want to see me benchmark in that video, let me know in the comments below, because I'm planning on getting together like an epic list. We also got some benchmarks here on 3D Mark Firestrike. It shows the 1080 and SLI scaling from 27.15 up to 53.31. So that's a more than, or just about double, I would say. Yeah, just about double scaling there on the FPS there in the Firestrike Ultra preset. And on the score, it went from a 5000 3D Mark to, or that's the 3D Mark. The graphics score would be 4959, went up to 9421. So just shy of going up double the performance there with SLI. So it looks like scaling is working out pretty well, at least in these controlled benchmarks, because it is Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. Even though it is a real game, it is still a controlled benchmark. I would have to assume they're just using the in-game benchmark and not actually going out and testing their own numbers in the game world. So it's good numbers to see, though. We can see, where SLI is going with this, and it looks like, for 4K, it would definitely knock a game like Shadow of Mordor out of the park. And being that I'm going to be looking to game in 4K going forward, and I want to do a lot of 4K testing, it's something that definitely interests me, and I hope it interests you guys on the channel as well. And I'm going to want to see like how this is going to work, compared to like something like 1440, 144 and 165 hertz, and how I'm going to feel about those technologies going forward, or if I would rather favor the 4K stuff. Also, over on video cards, we got a better look here at the EVGA for the Win card and the Superclocked version. I'm going to put links to all this down in the description below, so if you want to take a look at these cards in up-close detail, you guys can do that. And we could see some graphs here, even on Precision X, of what the card was doing performance-wise, and it echoes what Hot Hardware was saying, where it was running up around 80 degrees and just shy of 2,000 megahertz. So that's not overclocked. That's just the Superclocked card, what it's running at. So we'll see how much headroom we can actually get there, being that the Superclocked card is running at near 80 degrees already. Which is only a few degrees shy of the, when this card starts to thermal throttle around 82, 83 degrees. So we'll have to see, just how much cooling we can actually get out of these cards. We also got the Gigabyte card here. We just have a front shot of this, not as much of a detail there, but definitely a big change compared to the previous WindForce cards that we saw with the 3 fans going across the front. And the Strix card, also 3 fans, and it looks like this is maybe returning to the triple slot model. That looks like a pretty beefy cooler. I don't know. Do you think that's going to be a triple slot? I think it might be. It might be thick enough where that's going to take up 3 slots, or you'd have a lot of difficulty getting 2 of those sandwiched together for SLI. But I'm sure that's going to be a beefy cooler. The Asus Strix coolers are always really amazing. The Zotac cooler here also we can see, and there's something I wanted to... I think the backplate on this looks kind of silly, but there is something I did want to point out that I noticed here. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm going to zoom in on it. But this is the only one that I saw this on. If you look right there, this is where the power connectors would be, and you could see there's not just 1 tab, but 2 tabs. So is that 2 power connectors there for more than just a single 8-pin power connector? Because as of right now, that's the only card that I can actually see that on. The EVGA one has the single 8-pin. The Gigabyte doesn't show us a good enough picture to actually see one, and the same with the Strix. We don't have an angle where we could see what kind of power connectors are on there. But on the Zotac one right here, we can see 2 plastic prongs here for where the power connectors would clip on. So I'd have to assume there's going to be multiple power connectors there. So we got to see what's going to happen there with Zotac. And we also got one here from Gainward, the Phoenix card, just the front shot there. We can't see the power delivery on that one at all, but there it is. So really interesting to see these cards, though. Let me know in the comments below which one of these you guys like the most. Personally, just from an aesthetic standpoint, I would lean probably towards the EVGA Superclocked one. I like the lighting on that. I think it looks like a nice card. It's got a sexy looking backplate. I'd like to see 2 of those in SLI. And maybe they'll be doing something with multiple power connectors down the road with like a Kingpin card. They might hold that back for a Kingpin edition. Maybe like multi-BIOS switching and stuff. Maybe, and we also have to see what MSI is going to do. MSI is always a strong contender. Maybe we'll see something like their Lightning cards with multi-BIOS switching and insane cooling and multiple power connectors. We'll have to see. MSI has been known to do that with their Lightning cards, and EVGA with their Kingpins. So I want to see more cards coming, and hopefully over the weekend with Computex going on, we will get some of those. And I'll go ahead and get out of here, guys, and I will catch you next time. Ta-ra.